Welcome back in No Man's Land Tennis. We are a Coleless episode today. He's hacking up on a golf course out there somewhere in Texas, San Antonio. I don't know where the hell he's at, but he's playing some golf today. So we'll give you the old let's go Coley, I guess, from a distance. Fred, how do we feel without having Cole here?
Yeah, I think he's doing all right. He's on a ranch somewhere, sending
Briggs Ranch.
pictures. He's talking about getting merch. I don't know. He seems like he's in a great place. So we're sad to miss him, but I think he's doing just fine.
Yeah, we gotta fix Coley's swing. It was a very athletic move, but the man's got some early extension. And I hear a lot of his girlfriends say the same thing. So, but we got a fun episode this week. Fred's coming to you live after just being in Newport. I just finished my club championship season for my club, and it looks like my tennis season is done. We're going to dive into the Davis Cup, Laver Cup coming up this next week. How's that going to do? And we have some fun from the grandstand questions on how to handle a weird captain. So let's start off right away. Fred, you had the ladies team for Georgetown up in Newport. We had Andy Katz on earlier in the year. What was it like being on the grounds there?
Yeah, we got to talk with Andy and sort of cover that tournament a little bit when it happened post Wimbledon at the beginning of our summer here in the States. And was fortunate I got to go to Newport last year. And so this was my second trip up there, and it hits the same both times. It's just beautiful. I mean, Newport as a town is awesome. And the Hall of Fame is just so unsuspecting. You're sort of just walking down one of their little main streets, and there's a clothing shop and a jewelry shop. And then you're sort of walking up to another shop, and oh, wait, it's not a shop. Like, it's the Tennis Hall of Fame. And you walk in, and they've got, I don't know, 12, 14 grass courts. They've got a clay court. They've got 3 hard courts. They've got 3 indoor hard courts. It's a really cool facility, and they've done a great job. And so it was really fun being able to take my women's team up there. I brought 8 girls up. We had 4 doubles teams playing, a doubles only tournament on the grass. And so everybody got to play 5 matches out on the grass, which is just so fun to watch and sort of help kind of coach them and navigate how different playing on a grass court is than playing on a hard court or even a clay court. But most of our team is used to playing on hard court. And obviously college tennis is only on a hard court. So it was fun watching people take some tumbles and try and mix in some serve and volley.
Do you, especially on the women's game, do you try to get them to come in more? I know it's less of a, I mean, we had Bruce on obviously last week, and if you get the chance, go listen to that interview that's on YouTube and obviously on our all of our social media. But do you try to integrate some of the stuff he was talking about, that even though it's women's tennis, they should still come in and play a traditional or normal style doubles?
100%. And no one else is really doing it. And so our team, I think after this weekend, especially, is understanding why I was getting them to do that more really on the grass. I think it really made it stand out. And so everybody's kind of bought into what we're trying to do. So the next few weeks and really over the course of the fall season, it's going to be a good opportunity for our teams to really work on that, attacking second serves, learning how to serve and volley if you don't already. Really just getting 2 people up at the net is how we want to play doubles. And like Bruce said on that interview, I mean, he said, yeah, everybody's saying, wow, it's great to see some old school doubles. And Bruce just goes like in almost a pissed off way. He's like, it's just doubles. That is doubles. Like, it's not old school doubles. That's how you play doubles. And so that's really what I'm trying to get the point across to both my men's and my women's team. And I think both have really bought in and are doing a good job. And I really think we're one of the few teams out there that are really working on that stuff. And so I'm hoping that we can use it to our advantage.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking to a guy who loves a serve and volley. I do it in singles a lot too. The only reason why I don't do it all the time in doubles is because I'm just woefully out of shape. So after like my 50th serve and volley in the second set, I'm like, I may hang back here and just grind out a couple
We're
ground
we're gonna
strokes.
we're gonna fix that. We're gonna fix that. The end of 2023 is your 4 months. So
We're gonna find out. But that's awesome. I mean, that's a bucket list for me. Is the one just play on grass? 2 to play on grass up there would be really cool. I think tennis needs a little bit, like, I know the Newport isn't maybe that 100%, but we need to have like the ability to have like a boys or girls trip to like a cool tennis site. And Newport would be an awesome place to do it, where you just get like a bunch of people and run your own kind of tournament together with your friends. But it it just looks magnanimous up there. I just feel like I should have a sweater tied around my chest and go from there and start talking a little bit like this.
Yeah, it's no, you'd be surprised. I mean, all the locals couldn't be friendlier. And I don't know, that area got some blue collar to it, which is cool.
Mm,
But I mean, yeah, Newport is very prestigious and obviously the Hall of Fame itself. But I'm with you. I think being able to put together some sort of trip like that with a group, because I mean, we always talk about golf a little bit on this
yeah.
podcast, and I hear countless amounts of golf trips over and over and over. And you hear some, like when I was working at the clubs, people maybe, oh, we're going down to Sea Colony in Bethany Beach, and we're going on a little ladies trip. And you just, I don't know, it'd be cool to have a few more destination spots in our world of tennis to be able to do something like that. And I think Newport could be that, because you have the pristine of the grass, and they do have indoor backup if you need to play indoors. But then just Newport as a town, people are doing bachelor and bachelorette parties there. It's a fun place. You're by the water. So I think that is definitely, maybe that's what No Man's Land needs to do. We need to put together a little trip.
Yeah, no, we'll plan your boys trip for a tennis weekend, because it should happen more in tennis. You get like 12 or 16 of your guys together, and you get a couple guys that play singles and a bunch of guys that play doubles together. You create like kind of a Laver Cup kind of atmosphere for this. And it just felt like when you were talking about Newport, that was the first thing. And especially with all the team events coming up in tennis and in golf in this next couple of weeks, it just felt like, man, that'd be awesome to do. And I've never seen anybody do it in tennis before.
Yep.
But speaking to the team events that's going on, we just wrapped up Davis Cup. What was it, like qualifications, I guess we call it, for, or quarterfinals or whatever the heck it was for Davis Cup. It was so blasé that I didn't even know what round we were looking at right here. It was the group stages for the Davis Cup that happened this last weekend into a couple days ago. And not to be too negative, but boy, did they screw the pooch when it came to how to hype up Davis Cup, which used to be a prestigious event throughout all of tennis.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up watching, I mean, pick your country. You're watching an awesome atmosphere. It could have been Romania versus the US, and it's in Romania, and the fans are going nuts. And you're in some place that I don't even know if it's sat 2,500 people. And then you go to Brazil, and they're in some awesome stadium that's like lining the beach, and they're playing
awesome.
and they're playing France. And so you got, I don't know, Songa versus, I don't know who, Tomas Bellucci, like in some epic match on the clay, and the crowd's going crazy. It's felt more like it's the first time in tennis that it really can feel like a soccer match almost. And that kind of atmosphere is just not happening with this new version of the Davis Cup. And it's sad. I'm with you. I used to just be so in tune with who's in what group. Are you in World Group 1 or 2, and who's playing who? Oh, the Davis Cup Finals, this is massive. Federer was playing, and Wawrinka's playing, and Nadal was playing for Spain. Everyone was playing. And now it just seems like not everyone's playing, and no one is really invested in it from the fan side of things, because it's not, I mean, where they were just in Manchester and somewhere else in Spain.
Yeah, and I think there was one in Greece as well, because I think there was.
Well, there was a few that were playing that aren't in this final round.
Yes,
and they're playing to get up into a next group. So like Greece did get to host something, but that's because they're not in the final part. This final part is being hosted at neutral sites. And if you read Stan Wawrinka's tweets, he's basically calling out the tournament supervisors, being like, you guys are paying random Spanish or British people to chuck on a Polish shirt and come root for Team Poland, because you can't get anybody from Poland to come watch, because we're playing this in Manchester or somewhere in Spain where it was being hosted. And so I just think the flair and the allure of what Davis Cup was and should be is gone.
It needs to be revamped again. They tried something, it's clearly failed. And there were names in it. By the way, like Novak Djokovic played in the Davis Cup.
Yeah,
like
and most people don't even know that.
Yeah, they didn't watch him. Like, it's the best player. Stan Wawrinka played, as you said. Andy Murray played. By the way, the best positive that may come out of the Davis Cup is that video of Jack Draper and Andy Murray on the drive back after their win. I think Jack Draper singing 500 miles, right? And
yep.
And Andy Murray's just having none of it. He's just like the most grandpa looking human in this car, and young Jack Draper is just going to town in a bucket hat in the dead of night singing 500 miles by the Proclaimers.
Yeah, he
It was
looked like
awesome.
Andy Murray was like that disgruntled father that's picking up his son at the party that got busted at someone's random house in the neighborhood, and you got to pick up your son and drive his drunk ass home.
It's so funny anytime Andy Murray's involved in anything. Like, I think he's still part of the most famous tennis meme of all time, when that ball comes flying out of nowhere and hits his water bottle. And he's like, what the fuck? Where'd that come from? And they've done so many things with that on social media. He looked like he had that same exact expression when Jack Draper is singing in this thing. And it's just so perfect how just absolutely aggravated he is after they won. Like, the British team is a good team after they won won their group. I think went 2-1, had a decent Davis Cup, and it's just like, it's so funny to watch.
Yeah, I think maybe one of the last things we got to touch on here with the Davis Cup is in our home country, U.S. Tommy, Paul, and Francis Tiafoe go 0-4 against the Netherlands and Finland.
Yeah, not great.
I don't know what's worse, the U.S. losing to Germany in basketball or the U.S. losing to Finland in tennis.
I think this is one of the times where we can be really happy that nobody cared about the Davis Cup, because we can do the typical United States thing. It was like, oh yeah, nobody really cared about this. Like, if it mattered, they would have won. Like, we are famous for doing that kind of nonsense. I gotta admit
it's
that.
like the basketball. It's like, oh, if this was something that really mattered,
Yeah.
of course, LeBron and KD and everyone would have played.
Yeah, exactly. But it was a pretty strong American team.
It was. Tommy and Francis are coming off a great summer.
I mean, Cole keeps calling him Mackie McDonald, Turin Mackie McDonald, because he keeps winning. And I think he went 1-1 or something like that and split some matches. There were some prizes that came out of it. The United States team, with a lot of firepower, kind of did what United States tennis does every once in a while, which is like, oh my God, look how good they were during the US Open. And then, oh, now we're back to reality. That was what it kind of felt like a little bit. It's just the highs and lows when you're supporting American men's tennis. It's just what happens.
But it shouldn't be that way.
It should not. Like, this is one of the surprises that came out of this. Did you see the Team Canada with guys I have never heard of? They won their group running away, beating Sonego and beating a decent Italian team, beating Sonego and Musetti. And
they decided, they said, hey, Chapo, hey, Felix, we're going to plug in some college players here and see if they can bring something to the team atmosphere. And they did.
Kick the shit out of them.
Diallo played at Kentucky.
Huge hitting. Huge. Just massive.
So they basically got the Canadian college team out there and they figured it out, took out Italy.
Yeah. But that's the only thing I'm coming out of the Davis Cup, is that Jack Draper and Andy Murray are funny together. The United States did exactly kind of what I thought they were going to do, which is kind of let me down a little bit. And Canada exceeded expectations. That's what I'm coming out of this with.
Yep.
Yeah, that's about it. And it's such a shame, because you have the team atmosphere coming up right now in the Ryder Cup for golf. I know we often bridge the gap between golf and tennis. And I want to give a little shout out here to my boy Nick Gross, who's a member at Kennett Square Golf and Country Club, which is where I'm a member at. He's on the Junior Ryder Cup team, which is like a ridiculous honor. And he flew out to Italy. And I've gotten to play golf with him, and he's stupidly good. But the Golf Ryder Cup is such a big event. Everybody's tuned in. Everybody's ready to go. And tennis tried to copy that a little bit, because they saw the Davis Cup going down, where they launched the Laver Cup, which is coming up this week. And man, is it going to be kind of tough to compete with those two events, because they always seem to do this, is that they schedule the Laver Cup during the same weekend as the Ryder Cup and try to compete those two sports against each other. And that is just very, very, very challenging to do.
Yeah, I wonder if it's purposeful, but it is. I don't think it's a coincidence that those two events have happened multiple times on the same weekend. But when I think of Laver Cup, I almost think like the Roger Cup or the Rafa Cup. Like it's Roger, Rafa, Kyrgios, and Djokovic. Like those four guys. Djokovic sort of, but kind of. Really, I think Roger, Rafa, Kyrgios. that is Laver Cup to me. And when I look at who was playing on each team for Team World and Team Europe, I think Team Europe, one, I think Team Europe's going to run away with it. Two, I mean, inside the top 15, there's not even half of the top 15 is even playing in the event. So how are we supposed to get people to really want to tune into this when we're having a deep dive into and these guys, obviously, we all know this. If you're ranked between 20 and 50 in the world, you're still unbelievable. And I would definitely pay money to watch you. But I don't think that's what this event is going for. I think they're trying to get the premier of the premier and turn it into this kind of team event. And so I think pulling someone from 40 in the rankings is not necessarily going to be in your best interest to draw that kind of audience.
Yeah, I mean, let's go through it. Let's just go through it. The Laver Cup was founded a few years ago, I think, 2017 by Federer. It pits the best of the world team, which is pretty much United States and everybody outside of Europe, against Team Europe. And we can go through this. It starts on Thursday, I believe, this week, and goes through Sunday.
Yeah, Friday, just 3 days.
Does it start Friday? Yeah, 3 days. Yep. Okay. And goes through it. Now, Team Europe, let's go through that team because Fred is right. This team looks a lot better than the Team World team. That team has got Stefano Tsitsipas, Andrei Rublev, which makes sense because he couldn't really play in the Davis Cup, Casper Ruud, our boy Hubert Hurkacz, Davidovich Fokina, Gael Monfils, which is a fun little stalwart to throw back on, and Arthur Fields is the alternate for that team. But that's Team Europe, which if you look at the top 10 in the world, I think 9 of the players are European, most likely. I'm trying to think if there's even one that's outside of the team to be on Team World.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
But we are missing, as Fred said, 6 of the top 12. And Team World has Taylor Fritz, Francis Tiafoe, Tommy Paul, Felix Auger-Aliassime, Ben Shelton, Surrendalu. That was a little bit of a surprise on that one. And then the 2 alternates are Chris Eubanks and Milos Raonic, 205 pounds of prime Canadian beef. Milos Raonic. I would love to see Milos and Eubanks play doubles together just to watch the width difference between those 2 humans. Milos is just such a brick of a human, and there's nobody that's look more like a noodle than Chris Eubanks.
Let me just real quick read you off some of the teams of old.
Yes, go right ahead,
from
please.
This. So in the inaugural 2017 Laver Cup.
Is that Prague?
This was held in Prague, at the O2. Team Europe. Rafa Nadal, 1 in the world. Roger Federer, 2 in the world. Sasha Zverev, 4 in the world. Marin Cilic, 5 in the world. Dominic Thiem, 7 in the world. Tomas Berdych, 19 in the world. Team World. Sam Querrey, 16 in the world. Isner, 17. Isner, 17 in the world. Kyrgios, 20 in the world. Sock, 21 in the world. Shapovalov, 51 in the world. Francis, 72 in the world. But when you think of the names in that, okay, I get that for Team World. But the Team Europe, that's stacked.
That's everybody.
The next year, Federer, Djokovic, Zverev, Dimitrov, Goffin, 11 in the world. Edmund, 16 in the world. And then Team World, Anderson, 9 in the world. Isner was 10. Schwartzman, 14. Sock, 17. Kyrgios again at 27. And then Tiafoe at 40.
I'm laughing because do you remember in that one when they announced the players, it went, didn't it go Anderson, Schwartzman, and then Isner. And it's, that cameraman was straining his neck to get that camera up and down and up again to make that work. It was 7 foot, 5'6", 7 foot. That was awesome.
Unbelievable. And then, the next year again, Nadal, Federer, Thiem, Zverev, Tsitsipas, Fognini, all top 11 players on that team. And Team World was essentially the same again. It's just, it's a shame.
There's so many great moments that came out of the Laver Cup. One, we got introduced to some players that we weren't expecting to get introduced to in a team atmosphere. Nick Kyrgios shined. Say what you want about Nick Kyrgios, but he shined in that event.
Yep.
Every single time. He get fired up, he get going. And it was fun to watch the captains try to play matchups. But one of my favorite moments from that was always the funny Rafael Nadal, Stefano Tsitsipas, Roger Federer doubles moment where Tsitsipas and Nadal, we got to put this clip up there, are playing doubles together and they're sitting down. And Nadal just goes, "We have to talk about the signals." And Federer is just laughing behind them, trying to coach them. And Steph is like, "Yeah, what's up? What's up?" And and they're both just laughing because Tsitsipas kept throwing confusing hand signals out in the doubles. He kept throwing out like two kind of fingers or like half a fist or anything like that. And Nadal's laughing and he can't keep it together. It's like a 30-second changeover. 25 seconds is Nadal and Federer just laughing their ass off at him. And he just goes, okay, very simple. You fist, stay. Any finger, you go. You make your move. You cross. And they're all just laughing their ass off at that moment. And it was like, you got to see these guys not only be a little bit human, but it's something we've talked about is like that access that we never get with these players. And they got to like, you got to be a part of like sometimes how simple it is to play tennis and sometimes how confusing the top players have just doing simplistic things. And it was just so much fun to watch those moments.
Yeah, and I think one thing that the Laver Cup continually hits the nail on the head with is the fact that there's no points involved. There's nothing. I mean, I think from what I've read, there's a significant chunk of change on the line.
Oh yeah.
But like these guys, like watching Fed play Kyrgios or watching Novak play Kyrgios, like these guys want to win. And usually if you do an event like this, I don't know, like the Hopman Cup or whatever has happened before, it's like that's a BS event. And this hasn't been
they're
that
having
way.
fun.
This hasn't been that way.
They're having fun in that other event.
Yeah. And they're also having that fun here, but at the same time, they want to win. I mean, you're seeing Team World is doing all the celebrations on the sideline. Guys are falling down when Kyrgios hits a tweener winner and stuff like that. I mean, that part's epic. But then you get the side of, I don't know, they split sets and Zverev goes to the bathroom and Federer and Nadal like follow him to the locker room. And then they're walking back on the court and they're like, hey man, like, and they're just walking him through. And you get to see two of the three best players of all time coach a young Zverev through this match. And so to your point, the access is awesome. The mentorship side is awesome. The serious part about it is great. And then the fact that like it is sort of free flowing that we do get to see this kind of stuff.
Yeah, you brought up a great moment in Laver Cup, which is also the first and only time we will ever catch Roger Federer cursing. Yep. If you remember that moment when he's walking Zverev back, I think he said something along the lines, I'm paraphrasing here, but he says these words in some order where he goes, no more fucking head down. He goes, no more, oh, woe is me. He got an asshole type shot off the net cord. Your head goes up and you play. You move on to the next point. And I remember sitting there. He was like really coaching him up.
Yep.
And the tennis is always so good at that moment.
Yep.
It's so good. And in anybody who wants to argue, any coach that wants to argue, or any player that wants to argue that you can't have that level of access during a major event, like outside of the Laver Cup proves that. That's just dead false, because the level is always very good. They're playing their hardest. They're playing their damnedest level of tennis, and you get that real atmosphere. It's fun. And the Laver Cup has produced so many cool moments, and I got to see two of them, which is very lucky.
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome. And well, I guess the question I'm going to pose to you is, do you think, as I sort of touched on earlier, the Laver Cup is kind of, and I listed the rosters off, Laver Cup is Federer and Nadal, and Kyrgios have really existed in all of these. Can the Laver Cup continue to survive and thrive without Nadal and Federer?
There's no real easy way to answer that. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I think anything in tennis is going to have trouble when you have so many competing entities trying to control tennis, where you have the ATP and the Laver Cup and Wimbledon and the US Open. They all have their hands in it. So there's no like directional control sometimes over tennis, which is a detriment to the season and a detriment to what goes on. But yes, I do. I don't think you need Federer. I don't think you need Djokovic. I don't think you need Nadal to have a Laver Cup, as long as it's promoted within by the players. And as long as you're still getting access, I think it's a better watch than a lot of tournaments. I think it's a better watch than a lot of 1000s. And I think sometimes it's better watch than some majors, because if you get to go to it, which it's in Vancouver, like we said this year, the practices are unbelievable. Like there's so much fun. And like when I went last year, I had direct access where I got to sit 15 rows back and watch Federer and Nadal play Djokovic and Murray in a doubles match for fun. Like, nobody on planet Earth gets to watch that. Nobody gets that except for the 10,000 people in that stadium. So as long as you have access and as long as somebody big picks up, if I'm ESPN, I'm all over this or something like that, I think it's going to always succeed. But if it just kind of goes by the wayside and none of the players work on it because there's no entity controlling it, it will fall apart. So it depends on which players really take the mantle and hold on to it.
Yeah, like I think obviously then they're not in it this year, but I mean next year you would love to see Alcaraz and Djokovic and Sinner. And I know all of these guys are Team Europe, so hopefully Team World can continue to buff up their roster a bit and not just get spanked. But I think regardless, like you said, if you can get this access to those guys, like as I look at the rankings, it's like, I don't know, like Tsitsipas like needs to be in this mix, right?
But he's in it.
Is he in it this year?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is in it. Yes, he's the number one ranked player for the Team Europe.
Yeah, because he's fifth in the world, and so those top four guys, Holger Rune, Medvedev, Alcaraz, Djokovic, are not playing. And then all of a sudden you start getting down a little bit, and you're still getting some guys that are in that top 10, 12 range, but I don't know. There's no reason all those guys shouldn't be playing.
Yeah, I just think it can work. I mean, you need big players for any event for it to be good. I don't think you need everyone, because I think if it's easily accessible to watch, and I'm not sure how it is in Europe. I don't know. So our European fans out there, let us know how easy it is to watch over there, because if it's easy, it's always going to do well. But the level of access you should get there, because it is not a true sanctioned event and it's more of an exhibition, but a serious exhibition, is what's always going to make it good, because you're going to get to really see into the lives or into how these players think on a tennis court. And I love it personally because 95% of at least American tennis players play doubles for their USTA or with their friends. And when you get to watch the best players in the world play doubles, it's actually enjoyable to watch doubles. I know that sounds rude to all the other double players that play on the ATP and WTA, but we don't watch them a ton. There's a reason why the prize money is less a lot of times. There's a reason why the ratings are a lot lower. But I can't wait to tune in for a Tsitsipas Casper Ruud doubles match. Like, I think that's going to be fun. Like, those are two of the best players in the world playing doubles together.
Yep. When you're talking about doubles and you talk about double specialists, like, why is like Rajiv Ram not on the Laver Cup team?
That's why Jack Sock kept making teams.
Yeah.
Jack Sock was making Laver Cup teams at like 197 in the world and like won 3 matches on a singles court. And they kept, Weapon X is coming out here I had to watch Weapon X twice. And I was like, I don't want to watch Weapon X.
Right.
That was his nickname. That's what they kept hyping up in Boston.
X.
Weapon X. But I'd rather not. I know how stupid that may sound. Yeah. I'd rather just one guy. And I think that's why Eubanks is an alternate, because he could play doubles and has played on tour for a good amount of time. But I just want to see one doubles guy out there, just so watch him kind of school the other guys around, just on how to play a little bit. But the funny thing is, it always comes down to who is the most talented tennis player at a lot of these events when it comes down to it. Like, I don't know about you. I still think that if 2 of the top 20 players in the world played the best doubles team in the world and hadn't played doubles all year, I think they win that match a lot of times. But the Laver Cup is fun. The Laver Cup is fun, and I'm really excited about it. I'm probably the only one that's hyping this thing up, and I think we all should.
Yeah, I hope it's a good weekend.
Just move it. Just stop competing with the Ryder Cup. You can't do that. You can't do that here. It's going to kill the ratings of it. But I'm so for it. I'm so down for it, Fred. But I wanted to ask you this, Fred. Can we make the argument that Kevin Anderson is the best player from Team World to play for Team World during the Laver Cup?
Ranking wise, yeah.
Ranking wise, yeah, right.
But Kyrgios is the best player to play for Team World.
Could you imagine,
especially in that environment? Could
you imagine this event like 30 years ago when you had Sampras, Agassi, Becker, Kirtan, Moya, like it was almost equally distributed on the top 10. You had like 2 of the top Americans for like 1 and 3. Courier, that team would be oh my God, that'd be so much fun to watch.
Yep.
Well, let's get it back there. Let's get it back.
I hope so.
Well, watch the Laver Cup, people. Maybe turn off the Ryder Cup for a couple seconds and then join us in Vancouver for some Laver Cup. But I think we can move on. This is a new segment that we're going to run every once in a while called From The Grandstand. It's actually a new old segment. We're bringing it back. You boys used to do it before I was on the podcast. And I got a great message from somebody that I play tennis with in the area. There's some fall leagues going on right now. And the message was we had a captain for a mixed team that wanted me to show up for a practice on a weeknight. I couldn't make it, and he's pissed at me. So Keith, he asked me, he goes, Keith, I don't care if I burn the bridge with this captain because it's a new guy. Give me some funny excuses as to why I could not make this practice. So we thought it'd be a fun idea for Fred and I to bounce some ideas back off each other. So Fred, what's your go-to excuse if you can't make a USTA 7-0 or 8-0 mixed doubles practice?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm that guy, I'm sending this out. This email is going to say my fortune teller advised against physical activity today.
She didn't read the tarot cards well.
Nope, no physical activity today.
I would just want to say, no, I got a pickleball tournament. Can't make it.
Yeah, they'll really be pissed off at that.
Can you imagine how pissed off that captain would be?
Unless they also are in a pickleball league, then maybe they'll ask you if they can captain your pickleball team or something.
Where are you playing at?
Yeah. Oh
my God.
Yeah. Another one I'd probably throw out there is that my mom forgot to tell me that I had tennis practice today. She still handles my entire schedule. I think, yeah, she couldn't take me, and dad was supposed to drive, but yeah, then neither of them have the car today, so I can't make it. Sorry.
Did she schedule a doctor's appointment for you at the same time? Was that what it was? She scheduled.
Yeah, I still
your
see
dentist appointment.
I still see my pediatrician. Yeah.
That's so perfect. Oh my God. I want to do. Oh my God. Ooh. Let me think. Oh, I thought you wanted me, sorry, Captain, I'm not making it to practice because I thought you wanted me to sandbag this year to keep my rating down. Anybody who plays USTA knows of a certain guy on your team or girl that your captain's like, hey, can you throw like 3 or 4 games in this match so you don't get disqualified during the middle of the year?
Practice? Talk about practice?
Are you sending him Allen Iverson?
Not a match. Not a match, but practice? Come on, man. Practice?
I'm so pissed as the only guy from Philadelphia that I did not think of Allen Iverson and is the greatest rant in sports history.
He's a Hoya.
He is a Hoya. Yeah, that's a good. Okay, so never mind. All right, I feel a little better now. We have a kindred spirit there in Allen Iverson.
Barely.
All right, I can feel good about that now. Another excuse. I'm honing in my game watching YouTube lessons. Getting that forehand, really patting the dog on the forehand. Really just feel like I'm patting the dog, making good swings.
Yeah, sorry, Cap. But yeah, I can't make it in because I'm watching YouTube videos. Yeah.
Speaking of which, go to our YouTube channel.
Yeah, maybe Coach Keith instructional videos soon.
Enough of those.
I guess last one I'd put out there is sorry, my back's a little sore. I don't think I'll be able to carry the whole practice for you.
That actually works for Fred. That actually does work for Fred.
Well, yeah, if I was playing in like a 7-0 league, it does. But
I would die to watch you play in a 7-0 league and just watch these like poor humans try to like handle a kick serve that's bouncing like 13 feet over their head. I would die for that, Fred.
Well, that's why they have different levels.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I guess the last one I can think of is your mom's a hotter date than this practice could ever be. Hey, if you guys, anybody direct message us. However you want to reach out to us, you can reach out to Fred, myself, or Cole individually, or hit us up on NML Tennis on social media. If you have some fun questions or some fun stories that you have regarding, like, you know, you're playing tennis, you're watching tennis, send it to us, because I had so much fun with this when my buddy texted me this, and Fred did a better job, I think, than I did in coming up with. I can't believe I didn't think of Allen Iverson. Can't believe it.
Yeah. And again, yeah, check us out on all the social medias, drop some comments. I know I get some texts on the side, but throw that stuff out there on the socials. Like if you're trying to roast Keith or Cole or myself, throw it out there. Let everybody else see it.
Yeah, you're gonna need a big fire to roast your boy over here. But I think with that, we could say, swing a big stick.